Hello, good evening. Welcome back to the Phone Direction. Again, my name is Mary Apollo, and I'm the host for the Phone Direction. Welcome, and I'm happy to see you back today. And I'm joined by an amazing guest, and I have beautiful people. We'll be talking more about women writers and the challenges that they face, the social justice challenges in different societies. And I'm joined by different writers who have amazing stories and powerful stories. And also, they are going to share with us their stories as women writers, uh, starting from their personal inspiration and also the challenges that they have faced to reach to where they are today and the future, what the future is holding for them. So, my first guest is Keshni Washington. Hi, Keshni.
Hi, Mary.
Hi, nice to meet you. She's a writer and broadcast, and she also runs social media for the immigration and DMV area. Welcome.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Me too. Nice to have you. And my second guest, Nijok Tunjik. She's a writer also. She's just launching one of her book. Yeah, my mother was a stream. She was a refugee from South Sudan and grew up in the U.S. and pursuing her American dream. Welcome, Tunji.
Thank you,
Tunji.
girl. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, sure. First, congratulations again for launching your first book. My mother was a dream. Just first, a question: why is your mother?
Light reflection behind me. I didn't get a chance to fix it. Can you see me okay?
On the other side, maybe the camera, it will look more better.
Let me see. This way, maybe?
This way is better.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so I actually can't see myself very well on the camera because the three of us, it looks different. But I'll try to adjust it. But yeah, thank you for having me. I am
Why
Nigel.
is your mother?
Why is my mother's why the book is called My Mother's Wildest Dream?
Why is your mother? Why did you choose the title of My Mother Wildest Dream? Why is your mother?
Well, let's just say we are our mothers, right? All children are their mothers. We all, came from our mothers. But the reason I titled the book, there is so much about me learning from my mother. When you read the book, you will learn she taught me a lot of things: how to grind wheat or corn, how to smear the house, how to collect woods. So everything that I am today is because my mom did it. She made sure that I knew how to do all of that from a very young age. She was grooming me to be a wife, to be a mother. She taught me all of it. So I am her dream. She didn't get a chance to live the life that I am living now, but I am her dream. And the reason it's the wildest is because when we were in the refugees camp, there's no way she ever dreamed that I could be where I am today, that I would own a house, that I would be an officer in the United States Army, that I would have a bachelor in nursing, a master in public health, or a woman advocate. My mother probably never dreamed of that. And I think most of the refugee children mothers never dreamed that their children would accomplish most of the things that we are living and accomplishing and at this time. So I am her dream. So I'm living literally my mother dream, and it's the wildest because she probably never dreamed of it, that it would be possible for her own
So,
children.
how proud are you of that?
I'm freaking proud. I'm freaking proud. I don't think anything is accident. My family coming to America from Dima refugees camp, I don't think it was accident. I think it was our purpose. It was God's purpose for us to be here, to do the things we're doing so we can reach our own destiny, our own purpose. So I'm just excited to be living and walking and really seeking out my own purpose. So it's exciting.
Nice to know that. Also,
Yeah, you keep going in and out. I don't know if that's purpose, but you keep going in and out of the video.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry for that. I'm just trying to have more of. Yeah, so
I think that's better.
we'll try that also. Kishne, you also you were born and raised in South Africa, and you grew up in a segregated family neighborhood. Also, saying for the last 8 years, you just have moved to DC and called DC home. Also, and also as a teenager, you will have witnessed democracy, and your writing is influenced more by the history and the social change that move us all. This is on your own word. So how is that experience turn you to a writer growing up in the segregated family, and that transition also from South Africa to the United States, where it become your second home?
Yes, I grew up in South Africa, born, raised, went to school, worked in Johannesburg for many years, and then I only moved here the past 8 years, as you said. I grew up in an apartheid segregated community. So South Africa was legally racially segregated during my youth. And I experienced the changeover to democracy in 1994 with our first non-racial democratic elections where all races could vote who were not white for the first time as a teenager. So growing up in South Africa under those conditions, obviously I remember the segregation. We couldn't go to certain places. We couldn't use certain buses. Beaches were segregated. And we didn't really see people of other races we weren't supposed to mix. So it was a very strange and complex society to grow up in. And then witnessing post-democracy, obviously it takes time for society to change and to embrace everybody. And so it's been an interesting time as well in South Africa post-democracy. And then coming to America has been very interesting as well in the past 8 years. How this influences my writing, it influences everything. It is, you know, part of who I am, part of my identity, of being conscious of the rights and between different races, equality, the principles of democracy and fairness. All of this is something I've seen that wasn't very good when I was growing up. And it's something that I really believe in, and it affects everything I write. So a lot of my writing has been based on my personal experience, and the novel that I've written is also a historical fiction, and it's based on a South African youth who comes to America. So basically it's in everything I write, and it's in how I interpret the world and process my experiences through my writing.
So you also, I think you call now the Washington is your second home. How is that? How is this transition emotionally for you? And does the writer have a permanent home?
It's been very strange. I never expected to be living in America. I came here because I had always wanted to work for the UN. I was always involved in social activism, in social organizations since I was young, obviously growing up the way I did, and as an adult as well. And then I sort of always wanted to work for the UN. So I kept sort of applying, and eventually I got a job to come here and work here in DC, but I never really expected to move to the US. So it's been an interesting transition. It's not easy because I came here by myself. So all my friends and family are in South Africa. I'm the first of my family to come to the US and to be living away from everybody. So it was definitely lonely. And until I made friends and until I started to, find my community here, it was definitely lonely and it's definitely difficult. I think when you belong to two countries, when you're African and now you're in America, you see the world very differently from other people who are here. So it also makes you automatically kind of an outsider, but I think you can see more and see, more globally than other people can sometimes. And sometimes it's also difficult personally because you are kind of an outsider. So it's not so easy to feel comfortable. But after spending almost 9 years here, I definitely have a family here that I consider my family and my friends. You have to adapt. We're very adaptable, and you have to be open.
Yes. So, like now, both of you have went. Kirimat, are you there? Your video is off. Can you try to turn it on, please? Kirimat. Oh, Dipedu, she just joined us. She's a poet, and she is a Black Girl Dreamer. She has the Black Girls Dream Initiative. She's a writer. She's an amazing person.
Hi.
From Nigeria. So first, starting by asking you, I went through all your writing and the videos and the poet that you have published in your channel. Where is this amazing energy and power come to you from?
Okay. Hello, everybody. It's good to join this amazing woman at continent, to share the energy and everything. So when you ask me where does the energy come from, can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah. So when you asked me that question, I think I need to go back to the major reason why I started advocacy. And that is because I don't want to be silent. So anytime I put my pen on paper, I remember the energies, I remember the effort of our mothers past, of our sisters past. I mean, they have done things, and they have done things that we are inheriting right now, because we are not just starting from the beginning. We are taking off from where they finish off. So the energies come from the fact that, yes, we must keep up the legacy of these women who laid down their life, who laid down their energy for us to prosper. And actually, another thing is that we need to continue the rest because of women to come, because of girls to come. We have a story to tell. I mean, we there are tales that we met on ground, and then we also have story to tell. And it is very important for the young girls coming after us to also have a story to hold on to, and also have the energy and the effort to hold on to a story. So yeah, so I would say basically the energy, the effort pushing me to write all this is because of the women that are where, the women that are, and the women that we. Those are the three sets of people that actually push me to do these things. Yes.
I may go back to New York. The transition also of you moving, becoming refugees, until this amazing story. How does it feel for you?
Well, I've been in America for a very long time now. I came when I was 14, and now I'm 36. So this has been my home for a while. I do remember my refugees experience, and I wrote a lot about it in the book. At the beginning, it was difficult. It was difficult to meet new friends. It was difficult to learn about just America in general, the food, the environment. But I adjust to it. Like one of our sister, Keisha, said, we are adaptable as human beings. We adapt to the environment. And as my personality, I got to the Army, and we move every 2 years in the Army. So I always have to adjust to my environment, new friends, new family. So it's fine for me. Writing is new. I'm not as experienced as the other two ladies. So my book is just coming out in May 1st. So I'm very new to the writing experience. So I don't know yet. I don't know what it's going to feel like when people read my book and get to have their opinion and tell me what they've read, whether it's going to be positive or negative. I don't know yet. So, but I'm pretty sure I will adjust to that too.
Yeah, we're waiting. We can wait to see that. Just going on, we lost Kermit because of the internet connection, but yes, no problem. Moving on. Also, Keshni, let me go back to you. South Africa has many. Now we can say South Africa, one of the countries that has many women movement, and also there is a great work for women and social activists also. How can writers contribute to reflect these issues in general for the country?
Well, the voices of the women and their experiences are incredibly important. We find a lot of history is written by men about the great men of the past, but that's changing so much, and it has changed, where a lot more women are telling their stories, and a lot more women are writing their books as well. And this is really, really important, because without those voices, we have an incomplete picture. We also need more people to write in their own indigenous languages. But in South Africa, for the moment, a lot of the publishing is in English, and a lot of what gets published is definitely becoming, there are more women writers getting published. So like I said, this is important, because without that piece of the picture, we have an incomplete picture. And exactly as the other speakers were saying, without that picture representation and example out there, it helps the young girls, the next generation coming from behind us, who can see these stories, can be inspired, and take it even further, because each generation takes it even further, I think.
Mm-hmm. So even going back to Kermit, Nigeria, the country that has diversity, ethnic diversities, different religious group, the poverty, the oil. So how is all this happening? What is the connection, in your opinion, between that also, the diversity and the conflict, and how writers can address that? So she's just have a little bit of problem with the internet. I'm going to move with for the next question. For you, Keshni, maybe describe to me writing from a foreigner country. How does it feel?
It's interesting, because I think that firstly, English is even different. Even if you speak English, but you don't speak American English, so you still need a translation. Like, you still need to spell words differently with a Z instead of like an S, and a center is CENTER instead of RE, like we would spell it at home. So it's funny, like a basic thing like English is different in America. And the way people use English here is different as well from the way we use it in South Africa. So it's interesting that such a basic thing is different. So that's one of the little hurdles that you have to come across, that you have to realize and overcome. And I guess just writing as a foreigner, you have different kinds of stories to tell. So sometimes people can relate, and sometimes they just can't relate at all. They can't understand it at all. So hopefully you get the opportunity through your writing to open people's eyes and minds to totally different lifestyles and situations. But sometimes it does miss people. They don't understand the story you're trying to tell. But it's important to still keep trying to do that. Mm-hmm. And I think there's enough diversity of people in the US as well who will find your story and it will resonate with them.
Mm-hmm. So let me go first to Nijok, also go back again, start writing. And a therapist advised you once to write during your therapist when you are in the army to heal. Was it healing for you? Was writing healing? And did you wish at the point of your life is something that you have done earlier, it would have been better for you?
Absolutely. I started picking up writing in 2012, and it was a point where I was going through a heartbreak, a relationship breakup. And that's when I picked up writing. And that's the time when I knew what it was doing for me was helpful. Of course, I didn't realize right away that I was using a positive coping mechanism until I was in the therapy, and they reaffirmed me that this is a positive coping mechanism. In fact, they teach it in the sessions to write. So when I was writing, my whole book was a journal. It's all started as I was just journaling my life, what the things I was going through, and until there was a catalyst that made me thought, and that was what happened in the South Sudanese women community in June, this past June 2020, that made me put it together and say, okay, this is my memoir. This is my life. These are the things I've been going through. I just didn't know that it was going to turn out to be a book. But when they gave me that courage and I decided to share my story with them is when, I decided to send it out to a publisher and get it all put together as a book. It's absolutely been healing for me. And it's something, if anybody go to therapy for depression, PTSD, writing is encouraged, that you write your thoughts down, because it will allow you to release them on something, release them on paper. And that's a form of healing. So I still do it. I do it. A lot of my life is captured in pages everywhere in my house. So
That's amazing experience. I also write, so I enjoy doing that. Karen, would go back to you. Nigeria, diversity, different ethnic groups, also religious, poverty, the oil. What is the connection between that? How can you describe all these things in your opinion? Can you hear me? So she's still just freezing a little bit. So I'm going to go back. Kishni, there's one of the writers, one of your blog, and also in your last publishing at the Yellow Era Literacy Journal, you talk about writers. Writers are not just people who sit and write. Every time you come with this, something came to you, you get that inspiration and you sit and write. What does that mean?
I think what I said there was that you don't just write. Like every time you write, it's a quote actually. You're actually processing your life. You're processing your existence, your identity as you write. Even if you're writing fiction or you're writing a real essay about a nonfiction about your real life. Either way, all of that.
Not really. I'll leave you to repeat the question.
I think.
No problem.
I think we've got Karamat back.
Karamat, can you hear me? No, that's fine. She still has internet difficulties. Just a little bit hard then.
Yeah, so I was just saying that all of that is every bit of writing you do, even if it's fiction, even if you're making up a fantasy world, your life experiences, your emotions that are in the book are always real. They're always drawn from real life in some form. So being a writer helps you process and understand things from even your childhood, your life, your relationships, your community, your society. And you don't even realize it until you're writing and you realize, that's what was happening there. And now I understand it a bit deeper. It's not your intention when you start, but as you write, you process through like your brain, your fingers, your heart, everything, all of your experiences. So it's a difficult thing, but it's incredibly healing, and it can also be incredibly clarifying. So you can get a clearer picture. You can get a perspective on things that were confusing to you when you were growing up, or from your world that you lived in.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Also, you went to DC at the supermarket and you pick an orange, and that orange reminds you of South Africa. How is that emotional, like transitional, emotional, important for you as a writer and as a human being? And I'm just wondering, for people who don't write also, how can they transfer that feeling for others?
I think, well, so you're referring to my piece that got published in Yellow Era Literary Journal. Yes, the title of the piece was Alien, and it was about me going to the supermarket and feeling like an alien, literally and figuratively, because that's how you feel sometimes when you're from Africa or like South Africa, like me. I sometimes feel like I'm from a different world, even in a normal place like a supermarket. It's so different from home. Everything is different. Every brand of cheese, butter, milk, everything is different. So sometimes I do feel like a little bit like an alien, like I'm on an alien planet, even though it's America. And we have, the same things. It's just all named different, looks different, has different ingredients. So when I was going to the supermarket, like I said, and I was just thinking, there's different things that remind you of home. And it can happen anywhere, because home is inside you, right? So when you see even something as simple as an orange, and I realized it was imported from South Africa, and I'd never seen that before, South African oranges in Safeway. The sense of it really reminded me of how, my experiences as a child and how different my relationship to something as simple as an orange could be. As a child, we, ate guavas and mangoes and things like that, which, my American husband, he said he never ate guavas growing up. Or like, what is this fruit? It's such a simple thing. Can evoke these emotions, and it's part of this. We keep passing this understanding of this world versus the world we carry inside us from our upbringing. And I guess if you're not a writer, I mean, you're still experiencing this as a foreigner, as someone who's not from here. But a way you can process this, lots of people do it through art, through community groups, through doing activities together, finding and seeking out other people, even if they're from different countries, different parts of the world. Most of my friends are immigrants, but they're not from South Africa. Nobody's from South Africa. So they're from Nigeria, Ghana, Ukraine, wherever. But all of my friends are immigrants because even though we're from different countries, we can relate to each other because we're all kind of aliens here, right? So that's the way people can process it. Like other people who are not from here, even if they're from a different culture or community, you have something in common with them automatically just by being here and not being from here originally.
Njok, also in your story, you talk about the challenges that you went through, the arranged marriage at age 14, and then you when you moved to the US because of the family, and also then a lot of these stories are going in different communities, in different society in the US, which is against the law, but many people, many immigrants don't talk about it. What do you think some of the challenges that immigrant women face here, and how can we address these issues?
Well, I think, and that was the one of the biggest purpose for me to write my book, is to bring awareness that, we're immigrants here in America. We came with our own culture. We came with our own identities. We came with our own values and belief that has already been instilled in us. And we're here in a country that has completely opposite values and identity and things like that. But at the same time, we're still practicing our own here in America. For example, for me, I had the arranged marriage here. So that was the biggest challenge. I was young and I wanted to, as a young kid, I was amenable to adapt to American culture easily. So my mind was already wanted to, date and have a boyfriend and not be married, had an arranged marriage and things like that. So that was a challenge that I faced right away. So as an immigrant in America, we're going to face a lot of challenges because this is a world that has advanced way faster, not that necessarily better, but it advanced than most of our other countries. So we're going to face those difficulties, and just being in this melting pot is always going to be hard, but we have to adapt to it, whether we're sticking to our own values and our own culture in this country, which is going to be hard because there are laws, or whether we're going to, leave ours, put them aside and just find a way to be in America and not break laws. So as a woman in America, as a Sudanese woman or immigrant woman, there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of challenges. One of the biggest challenges that we face here is the challenge. Most of us from where we came from, there was identity role differences. So everybody knows their roles. In South Sudan, women know they belong in the kitchen, they belong in the house, they raise kids, at least, at the time. That's what they do. They raise the family at home, and the husband go out and find the jobs. Well, now it's not how it is now in America. Women are dual, they have dual identity, dual career. They raising families and working outside. It could be for their own choosing, or it could be because the circumstances force them to do that. But that's a huge issue that we're facing as immigrant women here in America. it's not something we're used to. Here in America, most women here in America, if you choose a career, you have your career, and hopefully you have a husband that understand that if you work outside, then also the inside job is shared between the husband and a wife. But we're from South Sudan, where our husbands don't believe in being in the kitchen, or we're not raised to be in the kitchen. So that's a huge challenge that we're facing. There's a lot of challenges, and that's just one example. Us sharing our stories, sharing these things that we're facing here in America, is going to help bring the light to what is going on in our homes, in our houses, and hopefully we can find a middle ground where our lives in this world in America can be easier, because it's been difficult. I've been here for over 22 years, and I'm still having a hard time adjusting to this life, because I still have my culture behind me that wants me to do things a certain way. Not that necessary. Nobody's forcing me to do anything now. I'm grown, but in my mind, I still know this is not how a South Sudanese person is supposed to act. But at the same time, I'm so Americanized. I want to, do things a certain way too. So I'm always having conflicting values, So it's not easy. And it's not just two countries. Keisha here mentioned earlier, she's South African and she's also American. I'm Ethiopian. I'm African. I'm from South Sudan. I'm American. It's like my identity. I don't even know, it's hard to know who you are when you grow up in all these different places, and all these different competing values are, every day. It's hard to decide. What are you going to choose today?
Keramot, go back to you. In one of your points, you said that to be a young female is a gift. What is this amazing? Like, what does that mean for you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you go over the question again?
Yeah, you said in one of your poems, to be a young female is a gift. I can do more. What does that mean for you?
Yes. Yes. What did you say? Hello,
We can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Yes. People are talking about young female and black is a gift, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So okay. So the major reason behind that poem was that yes, in Nigeria, young women are not ordinary women. I mean, when it comes to political participation, yes, they do the campaign, they do have it.
We keep losing
they are
you
not
and coming
allowed,
back.
or they are not given the mandate to. Oh, what about now?
Yeah, now it's better. I think you have to put the microphone closer to you so we can hear you. You have to put it closer so we can hear you more.
Sort of like just so not good. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. So you said you were talking about also the women representation in the government.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
You are saying important things we don't want to miss, but at the same time we can hear you very well. I think maybe you can try to talk without the microphones. Maybe that's better.
Active jumping.
Can you try without the microphone and try again? Maybe you can hear you better.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better. Okay, she's phrased again. Keshni, go back to you. I think in South Africa, one of the amazing country, also women contribute like 5% in the economy. And I didn't get a chance to visit, but did they just?
So you and I
they
Um,
Kermot, we still can't hear you.
young. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. I think it's difficult for us to hear you and get you on the conversation. Maybe you can catch us later again. Yeah, Keshni. So I don't know how about the woman movement in it. Women are waking in the morning, going to the market. Women who are sellers in the street, and how is that look in a daily life in South Africa when you are back there? I'm taking now also there is still cases of gender-based violence taking place of, and women are protesting in the public street, and they are demanding for a better circumstance and living in the society. All these violations are happening. What is the solution for it? The first question, like, describe for me a day as a writer when you see these women going from in the morning from home going to the market and they're selling their things. And yeah, the second question is like all these violations taking a place on what is the solution for that?
Yeah, well, it's hard to give an answer to like what would be the solution, but I can definitely expand upon, there's still a lot of inequality in terms of access to the workforce for women. I think it's much better than it used to be, but there's definitely still a lot of people in South Africa who are struggling, who are living in informal settlements. We have cities, and then we have informal settlements, like as we call them, large, where hundreds of thousands of people live, and they don't have access to proper sewage, proper electricity, proper plumbing, nothing. They're living in informal housing that they put up. So there's a lot of people who live in this kind of poverty in South Africa. We have a huge discrepancy between those who have and those who haven't, those who don't have. And that difference, though it's getting smaller, and some people who there are more people joining those who have, there's still a huge, almost, a large percentage of the population. And a lot of those are made up of women who are still struggling with the same things they struggled with under apartheid, in a way. This lack of access to basic healthcare services and the ability to access the economy, right? So there's a lot of work to be done still where it comes to that. And as we know, it's been proven, like through lots of studies, and even in South Africa, that if the minute you give a woman an opportunity, she will be uplifting her family and her community. If she's earning some money, whatever it is, she is taking that back for her family. So it's incredibly important that this kind of opportunity is given to women in South Africa still. There's lots of things that have been tried to start, like more opportunities for small business, how to educate people around like finances and trying to get them to grow their small business, even if it's baskets or beading or vegetable stalls or that kind of thing, to help them grow that kind of thing into a bigger, beyond subsistence business. But I think there's a long way to go. I was professionally employed in South Africa, so I wasn't a writer. I guess you always are a writer, but I didn't start actually writing until I came here, actually. So when I was in South Africa, I was employed as a professional in Johannesburg. And I was like one of the first of my family to graduate with a degree and have a professional job. But there's a lot of people who don't have that opportunity in South Africa. And I think one of the ways that can be addressed is specifically targeting the kinds of spending government is doing, and specifically harnessing the kind of initiatives that corporates in South Africa, who are quite they have a lot of resources available to them. So some of the work that they should be doing is to help raise the general access to these kinds of skills, education, and opportunity for women, especially the people who are living in informal settlements, helping them get out of this situation to something of more stability. And I guess that's maybe where a lot of people can start. We have a lot of people who just get together with their friends and they try to do something, try to help out other people, try to help train, give skills. But also we need so much of it done in South Africa. We need a lot more work to happen in that space. But like I said, a lot more people are being uplifted, but it takes time.
Mm-hmm. So go back to you, Nyajok. Also, through your organization, South Sudanese Girl Break the Silence. What are some of the issues that you're trying to address for these girls and women? And how soon these issues will be reached to a better place?
Well, that's I don't know how soon, but so Ross Girls Breaking the Silence is a nonprofit organization that we, as a member of South Sudanese community, came to form back in June. So as we know, back in June, our women took it on public, such as social media, and they talked about some of the challenges they were facing in the hands of their own families, such as molestation, rapes, just abuse in general, and how they were being silenced to bring this up to the law, whether it was happening in South Sudan or happening diaspora. A lot of these women that initially took it to public were in the Western world, in America, in Canada, and in Australia. And then soon the women from back home start talking too about their misfortune that they were going through, the abuse they were going through in the hands of their families. When we came about the Ross Girls Breaking the Silence and we formed that nonprofit, it was about 34 of us. And it's good to say that 4 of those were males. So we had males in our groups and the rest were females. And our mission was to help our ladies everywhere. The first thing that we came up with was education, community education. So that was our first objective. And we have been doing that through education, through social media. So we would go on Facebook Live and discuss topics like, what is rape? What is the consents? And if somebody say no, then that means it's a no. We talked about how can people prevent that from happening, such as watching out for each other, being in groups, and resources, where you go if you have been raped and things like that. So we talked a lot in the community. We still go on social media and do that. So that was a program that we implemented and is still going on. The second thing that we've been doing is mentorship. One of the things in South Sudanese community right now is a lack of mentorship. It's new. Mentorship it's not new. There's always somebody that's lead a group, even back in South Sudan, So there's always a leader, right, in a group. We just didn't call it mentorship at the time. But here in America specifically, we don't have a lot of people that we look up to, that we can say, oh, they look like me, they speak like me, and they are in a place where I want to go. It's very hard for us to reach out and say, I need your help. It's just very hard to ask for help. And I understand that's hard. So one of the things we've been doing is making ourselves available for our younger sisters or younger brothers. If anybody wants to talk about their depression, their anxiety, or anything that's not even mental health, if they want to talk about career path and they see one of us that has something familiar to what they're looking for, they can reach out to us. So we made a group, and anybody can go in that group that looking for mentorship, and they basically just look for what they're looking for and then match them to an individual, whether it's finances. So we've been implementing that. There's a lot of mentors now in the community, and we just want to put it out there that we can mentor you. And that's the program that's been very, very successful because people are reaching out and asking for help. The third thing that we've been doing is mental health counseling. So these women and young men just reach out to us. They reach out, they find us on Facebook on the Ross Girl Breaking the Silence group, or message me or one of the individuals in the group and ask that if they can talk to somebody concerning, whatever. I'm a nurse by trade, so I'm not a mental health counselor, but we do have people in our community that we connect them to that could be hearings. You know, they might not give them a full counseling, you know, a client where they have to document everything, but they could do things that, you know, it doesn't need to be documented. They can just give them resources or give them some recommendation or just be listening ears to them. So we have a couple social workers in the group that are willing to be connected to somebody that's need to talk to somebody in the healthcare professional or in the mental health department. So we've been doing that. So those 3 programs has been working since July, and those been our focus for the whole year, is to make sure that we implement those and the community knows that they are available for them. So that is Ross Girl Breaking the Silence, and that has been our focus, is to make sure that our women know that we care for them and we have resources for them if they need to.
Okay, thank you. Going back to Primit, what do you think the good scenarios that can be told about women in leadership in Nigeria and then or in Africa in general? You as a writer can address that.
Hi.
Her internet is not cooperating.
Yeah, we can hear you. She's from Nigeria. She's in Nigeria.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Probably too.
Yeah, we can hear you now. So, just going back, maybe I just go back to Keshni. Several workshops for writing. One of it recently, you have done the one for the Jenny McMore Creative Writing Program at George Washington University. How is this writing important to push the females' abilities and skills?
Yeah, I don't have, I have a science degree actually. I don't have a writing degree. So for me, wanting to write has just been a passion, and I sort of had to kind of teach myself. And so finding these workshops, I've done Vona, Tin House, and recently the one at George Washington University. That one was actually funded by a fund at the university. So I didn't have to pay for it, which was great, because opportunities, these workshops can be very expensive. So if people really want to, give people of color and, women and immigrants these opportunities, it'd be great if there was more funding. So you could apply and get accepted and do a semester, but it's, you don't have to pay that expensive fee. So this was funded, and it was a few people that were selected. I applied and I got selected. And it was really important, because writing we all do it naturally. We can journal. Everybody can journal. Everybody can express their thoughts. And some people are natural poets too. But there is a technical side that you need to learn, that you should be doing a few writing courses to try and learn these technical skills that you do need. To put a novel together is a big undertaking. So, and there's a certain technical way to do it, to tell a story. We do it intuitively, but it's better that if you have these skills, and if women have these skills, and if immigrants and people of color have these skills, then more stories can be told and put into the world. So even if you're starting small, like I don't have a degree in writing, even if you're starting small by doing any kind of online course or applying to these workshops, it's important, because it will only help your abilities to tell the stories that people really need to hear.
Nijok, what else left? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. What else is left as of the book?
As the book, as the writer, as people just should go and purchase it and get the book soon. It will be out.
Yeah, the book is coming out on May 1st. So this Saturday is literally in a few days. I'm anxious about it. I'm excited about it. And I just can't wait to hear what people, what they like about it, what inspired them, and, you know, what chapter is their favorite. I'm excited to hear those things. It's going to be on Amazon. It will be on Amazon.com. It's going to be a digital copy. So anybody with digital, whether computer, their phone, or Kindle in a reading device, they'll be able to get their book right away. My website is also coming. It's iamnyatongyik.com. So it's going to be available very soon, probably around the same day as well. People can go there and look at the book, or just look around. There's blog. I've been blogging. But I love writing. I myself also is not a writer. I wouldn't say I'm a writer or professionally. Like I said, this is my first, but we all do it. Like Keisha said, we all write. And it's, for me, it was easy because I didn't intend it to write, if that makes sense. So there was no pressure at the beginning. It was just something I was doing because it was helpful for me. And it turned out to be something bigger than I ever imagined it to be. I don't know if there's more books that are going to be coming up. I'm not sure. I'm just going to wait to God to tell me when it's time go. I will go. But as of right now, I'm focusing on this project, and it's here. It's finished. It's coming out. What else is just Nigeria, living my life and advocating as I've been doing, and just being a mentor to the young girls in our community.
Okay, just going back to Kishne, I'm wondering if after writing that helped you heal from some of the problems that you faced in your childhood, for segregated neighborhood, the community that you grew up in, and there were certain issues going on.
Yeah, definitely, I think so. I mean, I don't necessarily write exactly about those issues. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I write indirectly about them. Mm-hmm. But I think it's always in the back of my mind. So far, I've written historical fiction, where I haven't written essays. It's been historical fiction. So about the apartheid time, my book's not yet published. So even the novel I wrote, it's fiction, but it's historical. It's set in the 80s. It's about before Nelson Mandela was released from jail. And it also is about DC at that time. So it's just, I think I'm constantly processing it. I'm constantly learning what it means and how it makes me whole, I guess. I've learned to embrace all of the struggles that I've had. Some of the things used to make me very angry when I was a youth, when I was even a young adult in the working world. The inequalities, I didn't really even know how unequal everything was, because, like I said, we were everyone was kept separate from each other. So it's only when post-apartheid, when I started working and I went to university, did I see the inequalities? Did I see how much more someone who had lived in a white neighborhood had, what kind of houses they had that we didn't have, you know? So it used to make me quite angry when I was in my 20s. And I think now I've progressed to a point where I try to channel all of that. I found some peace and acceptance of all of that. And all I can do is put something into my writing. I like, my podcast is called The Signal Fires, right? And what that means is you light a little fire and you send up a signal, right? Someone might need to see that light, right?
Yes, amazing.
I need that to follow, to find a direction, to know where to go, you know? So that's the only thing I can hope to do. My experiences I can't change. The past has happened and it was that way for me. But I can maybe, by putting my stories out there, light a little signal fire for somebody else, you know?
Mm-hmm. So, Keremot, what kind of stories about women in Nigeria that haven't been told yet? If you can summarize that in 2 points.
Oh, I hope we hear her.
I hope we can hear you. If not, then we just have you in another day where we can talk more about that. We miss your important informations, but
Yes.
Talk is so bad, but I'm in this amazing conversation.
What haven't been told yet about stories of women in Nigeria?
I'm Portuguese. Can anybody hear me?
So I think we just go ahead to the last question, maybe. Why there was women absent in literature or in writing in general, starting from the elder generation of African writers, Chinua Achebe. Just recently, we have more women who are writers. Zikosa, like Warner, she's from South Africa. Also, Ivana Oor, Kenyan, Chimamanda from Nigeria. Why does it took that, like the gap in historical gap for women writers to just come and like be more productive in the 21st century? Because men have been telling most of these cultural and also social stories, and they have the privilege also of the power of the public life. Why does it took this long for this transition to happen?
I think we're trying to see who's you asking, or is it for all of us?
It's for both of you. It's for all of you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll say one, and probably Kashni can say more, and she might know more about why the gap. But just based on my personal experience and just being from South Sudan alone, I think more women are opening up now because of the Empower the Woman movement. The woman movement is not that long ago. It's even here in America. It's only been like a couple of centuries. It's not that long, or a couple of decades, actually, it hasn't even been a century. So I think women are more empowered now to speak up and are encouraged to talk about the things that are very dear to them, or the hard things that they have experienced in life. Because and here in South Sudan, we are still not. I don't know yet if there's a one woman writer that I can pick out and say she has been advocate for women and been writing our stories for years and years. I don't have that person, and it's because we're just still our women are. Yeah, I don't know anybody yet that have done that, because we're not that advanced. We're not in power. As a South Sudanese woman, we're not empowered to be like men, to speak up, to be vocal. So this is a new thing for us in our community, in our country. It's new for our women to speak their mind. So I think women are slowly just coming up and feeling heard, and not really worry about what other people are going to think about their opinions or what they write about, because it's important. They see a bigger purpose. They know that their purpose is bigger, and they need to share that. So I think as more men encourage us and support us, there will be more women coming up and write their stories, because it's important. It's important for a society. It's important for women coming up in the future to read about what women in the past has gone through, and what they can learn from us as women. So I think it's just part of the movement, and it's just gonna get better from now on. So Kashni,
what's your opinion on that?
I think as part of it is cultural. So even I was raised in a very conservative culture. I wasn't allowed to even think about being a writer. That was not something I could dream of being, and there were no examples really for me to see. Oh, but she did it. She looks like me, so I can do it too, So it's simply this lack of examples and role models, which is vastly changing now. Like, there's so many writers that you named, and there's so many more. So there's examples now. So I think more young girls will be able to pick up a book and see that the writer looks like them, sounds like them, and they will feel that they have permission. They have the ability to go do this. And I think the other thing is simply like the difference between like women and men. Sometimes there's been a lot of studies that say, like even for applying for a job, if a woman will tick, like we'll check, we have all the, we'll look at that job description and check we have everything before we'll even think about applying. But they say, like the studies say, that the man will look and if he has 60% of it, he'll apply, he'll take the chance. He'll, believe in himself a bit more, or believe in his ability to fill the gap. So I think we also have that tendency to hesitate unless we are doing it perfectly, or going to be successful. And with more examples of people out there, we can give ourselves that chance now, that freedom to say, okay, I don't know if I'm going to be perfect, but I'm going to try. I'm going to go for it, So I think this is a change in culture, society, attitude, due to the fact that there have been these successes and role models that we can follow. So that's the importance of seeing other women writers. It just increases your mind and possibilities.
Thank you so much, guys. So we reached the end of our amazing conversations. And also, Keshni, like your podcast, the Signal Fire series podcast, whenever I hear one of your interviews, I get more like energetic to achieve more, to write, to go and do more things. Yes. So thank you for that. Yeah, thank you so much, women, girls, those who are doing these amazing works. It's just the beginning of the writing process, and let us continue on doing that. So we reached the end of our program. I would like to thank my guest, Keshni Washington. She's a writer, and she's also a single. She had a podcast called the Single Series podcast. You can go and check that. Also, she ran the social media for DMV immigration. Thank you, Keshni.
Thanks. Yes, that's Kama DC, and it's at Immigrants of the DMV on Instagram.
Okay, this amazing platform for immigration storytelling. Also, Nyejok Tungik. Thank you so much, Nyejok. She's a writer. She's a retired nurse, and also she's a former refugee. She's a founder of the amazing organization called South Sudanese Skills. Break the Silence. She's an entrepreneur. She's someone who inspires a lot of people on a daily basis. Also, keep continuing following her. Thank you, Nyejok.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Mary.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, guys.
And congrats on your book. It's so exciting. Congrats.
Thank you. I enjoy listening to you, Keshna. I really did.
We have an amazing podcast here.
Thanks,
so everyone, check the books. Thank you. Bye, girls.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye. So the end of our program. Thank you, everyone, for watching The Four Direction today. My name is Mary Apollo. Our topic today was women writers and the social and their challenges in the social justice. It was amazing to have all this audience. Keep following The Four Direction, and I see you again in a different broadcast, different topics. Thank you for watching again. My name is Mary Apollo.